G'day, people. I'm back. Been a couple, 3 weeks since we've done anything here, and yeah, I've seen some pretty crazy stuff coming across the internet from people, and just wanted to remind people of a couple things. The only claim that you have here with respect to finances, money, is you have a claim to your share of the public debt, your share of the public debt, whatever that is. You also have claim to the fruits of your securities that have been presumed abandoned. That's it. Okay, there's no free money out there. There's none of this getting refunds for $100 million, $25 million, not unless your share of the public debt is that amount, and or you've issued securities that have been presumed abandoned and the fruits of those securities is up to that amount. Now, that's a very complicated path to go down for people. It's not real simple, and it can be dangerous for people. Lots of people have done the 1099. Lots of people have done the T5008, gone and sent paperwork into the IRS, the CRA, and thinking they know what they're doing because they heard something sound really good on the internet there, which is really just perhaps greed and selfishness. But a lot of them ended up in jail. A lot of them got fined. A lot of them got reassessed. So we want to be really careful and not to let that greed and selfishness decide, I'm going to get $50 million or $30 million or $150 million. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. And so just be aware of those things, and putting the word beneficiary beside your signature isn't going to change anything either. See right now, see that Marv here behind me? This is Marv. Remember Marv? Straw man, fictional being, a person, fictional being. Right now you're all acting as fictional beings. Fictional beings are not beneficiaries. That's your identity right now. You're of the country. You're a son of the country, and sons of the country are not beneficiaries except of the country. And you get your little piecemeal. That's all you're ever going to get as a beneficiary of the country, instead of the beneficiary of the trust, which is really your estate. And keep in mind here, man, there is no substance in the system. Man is not in the system, doesn't exist in the system. They can't see man in the system. Yeah, they see you when you appear in court, but it's a man appearing as a person. Remember these things. It's important. Start to keep people from getting in trouble in this concept about being a coroner. It's just getting bizarre, really bizarre. And what's the most bizarre thing is some of these people that are telling these stories, it sounds really good and really great. Not backed by anything, no. Can't believe how many people jump on the bandwagon to this nonsense. It is nonsense. The only reason you're dead or presumed dead is because you're appearing in person. You've returned. So when you fix that, you're no longer dead, so to speak. But you're not really dead. You just took on a graven image that has no life, and you keep appearing as it. Anyhow, as long as that's in the record and hasn't been dealt with, you haven't corrected your identity, putting the word beneficiary beside your signature is going to change nothing on these remittance vouchers, on coupons, whatever you want to call it. This has all been done before, years ago. 10, 15 years ago, people were doing this. 99 is the fix, all that sort of stuff. Got people nowhere. At best, people would dig themselves into a deeper hole, especially people who think they know what they're doing, haven't thought it through. So always, always, always think it through. But just to reiterate, you have claim to your share of the public debt, whatever that is. You have claim to the fruits of the securities that have been presumed abandoned, whatever that is. That's called, if you're going for that, that's recoupment. Not an easy thing to do, but that's a possibility. But that's the only funds, if you will, you have claim to. That's it. Fact. So now these, like this whole trucker thing that's going on in Canada here, they went to Ottawa, and I understand why they did what they did, and God bless them for doing what they're doing. But when you go to march to Ottawa, and just talk about Ottawa here, but it's what's going on here. So these people went to Ottawa to protest to get their freedom back. Well, they went there as Canadians. They went there as fictional beings. Fictional beings don't have any rights. It's like people just don't get it. All these, unless you're speaking of a man, specifically a man who's a man and a woman who's a woman, it's all fiction. Again, Clint Eastwood was not Dirty Harry. Clint Eastwood is not a Canadian. A Canadian is a person that's a fictional being. You're never going to achieve freedom. Keep talking about Canadian rights and all this sort of stuff. It's no. It's all fictional. It's all Wonderland stuff. You're subjecting yourself to human law. Remember, whoever made it owns it, rules over it. God has his laws. It's the laws in the first 5 books of the Bible that apply to men and women. Now, you're not going to get those enforced in the courts. But the point is, when you're not a person, you have no business in their courts. They have no jurisdiction. They have jurisdiction over persons, fictional beings, which means they have jurisdiction over nothing. Nothing. And anyhow, so I want to talk a little bit today, a little bit more about the statement of the benefactor. It's really not a complicated thing. It seems complicated. Excuse me. What we're involved in. I think one of the reasons it's really complicated for people is get too wrapped up in the legal mumbo jumbo. Look, we're just simple men and simple women here. We don't have to be experts. We don't have to be professionals. We don't have to have certificates and licenses to free ourselves from this fictional existence, this counterfeit reality. Not necessary. If you're claiming to be a Canadian, your identity, you're a son of the country. Simple as that. If you're claiming any kind of legal rights or charter rights or human rights or constitutional rights, you're doing so as a fictional being and you're subject to the human law. You're under the human law. And it's, again, back to determine the video before this one, God said what they shall do to you. What the king, what your leader, y'all talk about your leader. Okay, this is what your leader's going to do to you. And he's doing it to you. And you're all trying to correct him to get him to stop doing it to you. It's not going to happen. You got to get this, deal with this person thing. It's the person. It's it. It's either person or a man. Person or woman. Female person, woman. Male person or man. Take your pick. That's it. And again, there's no man or woman mentioned in any legislation, code, rule, act, none of it. There's a reason for that. Again, keep in mind here, the public has no money. That is why they put the people on the hook to underwrite the public debt. So trying to get money out of the public other than your own from the fruits of your securities and the portion of the fruits of the unclaimed securities, which is part of that's in the public debt. That's all you have to claim for. That's it. That's it. So what are we really talking about here at the end of the day? At the end of the day is every man is worthy of his hire. And at the end of the day, every man gets the fruits of what he's done. That's how it used to be. You worked 40, I don't know how it was 100, 200 years ago, but let's just work with the 40-hour work week. You work 40 hours work week for $50 or $10 an hour or whatever it was. You got full pay, no deductions. That's it. That's the best you're going to get. Full pay, no deductions. See, if you don't get out there and sow, you're not going to reap. If you don't plant the corn seed, if you don't do something, like plant the corn seed in the field, you're not going to have corn at the end of the year. If you don't tend to the cattle, you're not going to have beef at the end of the year. If you don't milk the cows, you're not going to have milk. If you don't have cows, you're not going to have any of that. So, but not the point is you've got to do something to get something. There's none of this. I get something for nothing just because the government did what it did. No. It's nonsense. It's total nonsense. I have here a book. It's a digest of Canadian mercantile laws, published by William H. Anger, 1913. Interesting book. I've actually seen the 1896 or 1899 version. They spoke very clear and concise in those days, a lot less legal mumbo jumbo. But specifically, I'm looking at gifts and gratuitous promises, page 14. Gifts and gratuitous promises. Basically, what they're telling you here is the law presumes everything is purchased. If you look to the banking legislation with respect to the securities, they are acquired for a valuable consideration. They're purchased. You look up the word purchase in the UCC Article 8 or Securities Transfer Act, where it even mentions the word gift in there. Well, that's a bit of a misnomer in a sort, because there's no such thing as gifting anything in commerce. It's purchased. It's as a valuable consideration. The law presumes everything is purchased. In fact, what it says here, so just let me read something here from this. A gift of any goods or any kind of chattels is good if accompanied by delivery, and the donor could not recover them back. But where one person obtains property from another, the presumption is that he purchased the property. Hence, if the giver should sue for the value of the articles, the other party in setting up his defense would have to prove they were a gift. And this he could not do by the plaintiff if he denies the gift. Other evidence would have to be given to prove the gift. You know, I used to do seminars years ago, and I mentioned this to people. You're driving down the road, and there's a house with a picnic table on the front lawn that says, "Free, take me." So you drive up, and you load it in your truck, and you take it. Well, legally speaking, you didn't purchase it. I know it said gift on there, but if you don't have evidence that it was actually given, then the guy who gave the table could actually call the police and say you stole it. You could actually be obligated to pay for it. So what you want to do before you take the table, you go and knock on the door and get the guy to sign something to the effect that yes, he actually gifted you the table like a Christmas gift. Free, no charge. Gratis. Absent that, you better have proof of purchase, or you could be charged with theft. The law presumes all things are purchased. Now, with respect to the promissory note you gave to the bank, the first thing should be going to your mind is, okay, then the law presumes they purchased my promise to pay. Where's my check? Before people go running off to the bank asking for that check because you heard it here, don't be stupid and do that. You need to have understanding before you do these things. See what I get it every now and again, emails from people they've done this and they've done that because they heard some stuff on these videos or other videos and think they know things, and they end up digging themselves into a deeper hole. One lady I'm communicating with now did some stuff. I don't know where she got the concepts from, but she's into foreclosure now. And she said, "So what do you think about this?" I said, "Well, they're going to foreclose on you." I don't know that for a fact, but experience has told me that's exactly what's going to happen. See, there's a thing. They're always looking for hazards. These legal people. I give you a perspective on that. Years ago, 2000, I purchased a brand new Yukon truck, $65,000 truck. And I was just getting onto this path at the time. I just attended a seminar with David Miller in Bellingham, Washington, and I was learning the truth language and all that sort of stuff, and learning the name game and stuff. So the vehicle was leased. So about 10 months later, all the payments are up to date. I started playing the name game with General Motors, the lease company. And the short story is they took the truck. And they took the truck, and the reason they took the truck, and I got this from the lawyer that was hired by the, whether it's a law firm for General Motors, and he said it was anticipatory breach. If you look up, you could look up in a law dictionary about anticipatory breach. So where I thought I was a smart guy, was going to take on these big guys, ended up costing me a $65,000 truck. And at the time, I had no clue what I was going to do to get it back. So, long story short, I never got it back. Like I say, that was in the beginning. So the point here is that it's very easy to dig yourself into a deeper hole. And the deeper you go, the harder it's going to be to get out. So this is why I say to people, think it through. Paperwork without the understanding is a waste of time. So don't go running to the bank and saying, yeah, you purchased my promissory note, where's my check? Well, the check is the check they used to purchase the property. You gave them a promissory note for the value of the property initially. That's what you thought. And the bank cuts a check to put in that securities account. There's a credit. Yeah, your note's a credit. And they cut the check to pay for the house or the car, let's say. But then you sign after that, you sign something else to promise to pay the bank back. And you see, that's where they get you on. It's that secondary transaction. So, but anyhow, just want to point out here that the law presumes everything is purchased. Now, a bit more about, excuse me, the statement of the benefactor. An objective of the statement of the benefactor is to come to an agreement with the governments, wherever you're at, being the holders of the registration of live birth security. They have that. It is a lot easier for you to get the governments to agree to take care of the bills, the debts, to leave you alone, than it is to get money from them. And that's where things generally go sideways for people when they try to get the money out. So I say, wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove, and don't do these things if you don't have the understanding. They're very costly for people. Very costly. If you want peace in your world, then this is probably the path you wish to consider, the path of least resistance. Remember, they put it up that they pledged us our labor to underwrite the public debt. Okay, you guys did that. Now pay the bills. I accept it. There's more to that, but you want to get to that agreement, right? Have it established. Do we have an agreement? Yes, my labor's underwriting the public debt. I'm getting nothing out of it because we're not in the system, right? Your name's not there. So we're almost like godlike. We're the source. Source is source. Source doesn't need anything from out there. Source is source. Source is the source of the credit. Source doesn't go to the bank for the credit. I'm source. Source is source. Anyhow, this path is not paperwork intensive. They set them up to be themselves up to be trustees. We got caught up in the bait and switch. Simple as that. As you know, a function of the statement of the benefactor is to undo the bait and switch, to correct the incorrect designations. This is your path to freedom I'm talking about here. You got all that legal and financial mumbo jumbo off your back. I think now more than ever people need to do that. All the worldwide events going on here. You got two fractions. You got the people that want to be free, and you got all these other whatever that want to put you in the bondage, slavery. You'll owe nothing and you'll be happy kind of thing. Nonsense. Nonsense. Don't buy it. Yeah, so I think now more than ever is for people, and basically what we're talking about here is taking our power and reminding the governments we are the power, we are the authority. We fund government. You need us. We don't need you. You don't have my freedom. Us people are the source. We underwrite your public debt. We fund government. So start acting like it. They need us, people, no doubt about it. There is no freedom bowing to human law. Only debtor persons do that. And the insanity of the situation is this. On the one hand, we are the source of the credit, the lenders. And on the other hand, we are as if the debtor, borrower, citizen, trustee persons. And the governments, the banks, the bankers, the lawyers, and all those pagan court judges are acting as middlemen, administering us, our affairs, our property, and doing so as they see fit, because you keep appearing in person. As long as you're a person, you're going to be under that rule. No ifs, ands, buts, or maybes, pardon me, as long as they deem you to be a person, they perceive you to be a person. If you haven't dealt with the identity issue, I know people like talked about this before about the change of status. Look at it, change of identity. We went from this man to that person when we turned. So you want to lose that monkey, get that monkey person off our back to come back to being man. There's your freedom. So the insanity of the situation is this. On the one hand, we are the source of the credit, the lenders, and on the other, we are as if the debtor, borrower, citizen, trustee, persons, and the governments, the banks, the lawyers, bankers, and all those pagan court judges are acting as middlemen, administering our accounts, our affairs, our lives, our property, and doing so as they see fit. It's called legal plunder. We turned. That is a fact. We ought to know it, and we ought to know that we did it. If you want to blame your dad. Simple as that. And we are under their rule because of the attornment. Simple as that. Here you are. The statement of the benefactor does not bring about a full unattornment. However, a decent understanding of the statement of the benefactor can undo the bait and switch and set yourself free from legal mumbo-jumbo and bondage to debt. This is the method to the there is a method to the madness in concepts that cannot be denied or faulted. I call it a type of no-fault insurance. A type of no-fault insurance. Now we have the free version of the statement of the benefactor, which you'll find under the video statement of the benefactor. Freedom from mumbo jumbo is with the correction of the designations. However, it's also not the full version. The full version does have some. We're asking them to provide certain information, which we know they can't provide, but we're creating the evidence, right? Because we're coming to that agreement, acceptance. So in the full version, there's information that's part of that. It's asking them, provide it. Provide the proof for this, provide the proof for that. Just offer them suggestions, really. And they can't, and they won't, but it's not the point. We're giving them the opportunity, so we say we did it. So we come to the end of the day, we have this finalized agreement. Their silence is going to be agreement/acceptance to what you've done here. You know, in a system that's run fair and equitable, all the people would go to work and they do what they do and they get paid what they get paid at the end of the day, and you get 100% of the fruits of it. No tax deductions. That's the real world. That's how it should be. That's how it could be. But there's none of this. Government did this, government did that, so I can get free this, free that. No, you gotta contribute. You gotta do something. It's like, otherwise, it's kind of stealing from other people. So just imagine right now, everybody on planet Earth's going to work, and at the end of the week, they get a paycheck, but there's no deductions on the paycheck. That's how it should be for everybody. And maybe God steps in here and says, well, actually, you got to give something because they're going to look after the roads and they're going to plow your roads in the wintertime. So you got to give a portion of that, a very small portion, not like they're taxing people to death right now to keep everybody on the debt treadmill. No. Even people who have escaped the system walk into the municipal office and say, here's a couple $100, thanks for plowing the roads. It's called voluntary payment in lieu of taxes. You don't want to be the person, which is the taxpayer, then you're under the subject to the laws, right? But not to say you can't make voluntary contributions and thanks for the services you're receiving, and should do that, but not under the gun, not by the law, by your heart, because it's right. Yep, they provided a service. I should contribute for that service because those guys got to get paid too, right? I'm getting paid for my services. Those guys should get paid for their services. Lots of people want something for nothing, and that doesn't work that way. So that's the way the world could be, perhaps the way the world should be, probably the way the world was. Man did what he did. Whatever he did with the fruits of his labor, whatever he did with his labor, that was his. He could do what he want with it. And the same for everybody. Now we're wrapped up into this income tax, property tax, estate tax, all these taxes, and that's only happening because you've returned. Because it's right now, once you returned, you own nothing. The state owns it all, and you're already renting it. Your property taxes is like rent. You already don't own anything. You're already paying the rent, and if you don't pay the taxes, you know what's going to happen. You're going to lose the property. You don't put a license plate on the car, have insurance to drive the car. I'm talking about persons here. You're in trouble. They're going to take the car. They're going to charge. It's going to happen. No ifs, ands, buts, or maybes. And it's all because we have turned. Had we not turned, this would not be happening. So rather than go into a lot of detail about that here in this video, about the statement of the benefactor and giving your opponent a heads up what we're talking about here, what we're doing, we decided to invite you to join us on Zoom for discussion on the statement of the benefactor, questions and answers sort of thing. You'll see the link to join us on Zoom posted below this video. These meetings will be on Sundays, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, until further notice. I will update the link to join each week. We are limited, I believe, to 100 people on Zoom, 100 participants per meeting. So entrance will be on a first-come, first-served basis. If you are thinking to join us on Zoom, I suggest you watch our videos in our playlist on YouTube, Tricks, Traps, and Deceptions, as well as Statement/Affidavit of the Benefactor, those two playlists. Watch the videos in there. Get your head in the zone. So we're on the same page. We're having this discussion. You can also download the free version. As I say, you'll find that and to have it in front of you if you join the Zoom meeting so you can follow along. You'll find a link to that under the video, Statement of the Benefactor. Freedom from mumbo jumbo is with the correction of the incorrect designations, or with the correction of the designations, which are currently incorrect. I record the Zoom meetings for quality assurance and other purposes. I may post one or all of them, so do not turn on your camera and change your screen name if you prefer anonymity. Now, this will be the first time I've scheduled a meeting, so if anything happens, because I'm scheduling a meeting in advance, so if things go sideways, well, I'll just have to do it for the next Sunday. It'll be a live and learn thing for myself. I don't perceive any difficulties, but one never knows. Technology. And so anyhow, so that's going to be primarily on the statement of the benefactor, and that's really for newbies. So people are already part of our Reclaim Your Securities. We've had a few calls on that already. I got another one I'm going to schedule another week or so, maybe. And but other than that, they're already got the information. There's basically 3-4 steps to the statement of the benefactor process to come to that agreement, acceptance of the facts, truth, and agreement. And so, yeah, feel free to join us Sundays, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And just one other thing I should touch on here. We get inquiries from people who are wondering about whether they should register the birth of their child or not, or whether they should, what they can do when the child turns 18. First off, sure, go ahead and provide the information to register the event of the birth. That's a golden opportunity to make, to express the will. When you're providing this documentation, or actually what I would do is do it the way they want it done, but within 30 days, you want to have the proof of the registration, but within 30 days of that, have that proof and then write to them and say, oh, by the way, my son or daughter, Billy, Susie, whatever, is the beneficiary of this trust right now, right here, right now. She's not one of you guys. She's not a member of the Canadian family or the United States family or the Australian family or the fictional family. These are all fictional families. Remember that. All these are fictional families. Every country on the planet is a fictional family. It's counterfeit. God did not authorize any of it. And God did not authorize any man or woman on this planet today to govern his children. It's in the first 5 books of the Bible where the governance is. You want to be self-governing, you're doomed because you didn't create yourself. There is no self-governance. We're all governed by some law, one law or the other. So you're either governed by the human law or the laws of God, the laws of nature. Nothing common about it. So yeah, and with respect to, and the same with, mom and dad, wait until my child turns 18, I can endorse the birth certificate. You don't have to wait till they're 18. You can do it right now. Express the will. So provide the information to register the birth, get the proof of registration, then write them back and say, oh, by the way, my daughter Billy, Susie, whatever the name is the beneficiary on this trust. Good time to do that, don't you think? From the get-go, something we didn't do. I think that's it for this video. So yes, feel free to join us on Sundays, starting this Sunday coming up, 11 a.m. It'll be on Zoom. Link below the video here. You'll see it. And every Sunday thereafter until further notice. And under the, I'll just update the link under the videos each week. And when there's not going to be any more of those meetings, I'll just put there no more meetings, so you'll know. And again, I prefer it for newbies, and but everyone's welcome. God bless. Love you. Light of God never fails. I got some audios here. I wish I could post them. I don't have the authorization to do it. These are from God's government. And if you could hear them, they're very powerful stuff. But anyhow, love you. God bless. Talk to you later.